we have discussed about the characteristic features of the class amphibians, class apes and class reptilians. Okay, and in this class I am going to continue with the same tetrapod topic, and in the today's class we are going to discuss about the class mammalia. Class mammalia. You already know about that mammalians and the characteristic features of the mammalians. You know why? Because you are also one of the type of mammal. Okay, you are also belongs to the class mammalia. Okay, and let us discuss the characteristic features of the mammalians. Okay, and mammalians, those are the organisms, those are the highly evolved organisms when compared to all the vertebrates and the invertebrates is mammalia. And these, why they are called as mammalians? Why the organisms that belongs to the mammalia, they are called as mammals? Because they can having the presence of mammary glands. Okay, the mammals, those are the organisms, and those organisms having the presence of mammals, mammary gland. So that's why they are having the name called as, they are justifying by the name mammalians. Okay, and these mammary glands which produces the milk after the parturition. So and this milk which give nourishment for the developing fetus, developing new individual. It can be nourished. It takes the nourishment from the production of milk from the mammary gland. So that's why they are called as mammalians. We are called as mammalians. And when coming to the habitat of the mammalians, those are the organisms. They can live in desert also. They can live in the mountains also. They can live in the forest also. There lives in the aerial condition also. And few organisms they can live in the grassland, and few organisms they can able to live in a dark conditions also. Dark conditions in the sense in the caves. In the caves. Here the mammalians, those are the organisms. They can choose the various different types of habitats. Like few organisms they can live in deserts. Few organisms they can live in the caves, dark caves, and few organisms they can live in the water, and few organisms they are arboreal. They live in the air also, and few are there live in the grassland also, etc. These organisms they can able to live in various different habitats. And when coming to the body temperature, the class apes are, the class amphibians are cold-blooded organisms. Amphibians are cold-blooded organisms, and class reptilians, those are also having cold-blooded organisms. But the reptilians are the apes are warm-blooded organisms. Again, the mammals are also warm-blooded organisms. Warm-blooded organisms. Homeothems. Okay, the organisms which can able to maintain the constant internal body temperature, and those organisms are called as warm-blooded organisms or homeothems. The mammals are also the very good example for warm-blooded organisms. And here when coming to the limbs, there are two pairs of limbs are present. Two pairs of limbs are present. The first pair is called as forelimbs. Forelimbs and hind limbs. helpful in walking, jumping, dancing, swimming, burrowing, flying. These are all the activities which are under the control of limbs and hind limbs. Okay, when coming to the digestive system, a complete digestive system which is going to present complete digestive system means complete digestive system means there is a presence of mouth and anus region. And after that, when coming to the circulation is also closed type. The blood can be supplied to different parts of the body with the help of arteries, veins and capillaries. So that's why the mammals are having the presence of closed type of circulatory system. And the body is covered by a epidermal hairs and provided with the sweat and sebaceous gland. Okay, the body is covered by the body is covered by the epidermal. The body is covered by the epidermal hairs and provided with the glands like sweat gland and sebaceous gland. And another very important thing here is in the amphibians, reptilians, there is no presence of ear-like structure. Instead of that, the tympanum is present. But in the mammals, the external ear pinna is present. The external ear pinna is present, which helps to receive the sound from the external environment. And again, when coming to the respiration, which type of respiration is going to take place? Pulmonary respiration. Pulmonary respiration means the process of respiration takes place by the presence of lungs. So that's why the respiration is by lungs. Respiration is by lungs. Respiration is by lungs. And after that, when coming to the sexes, the sexes are separate. And there is a production of gametes. The male gamete they can produce the male gamete, and the female gamete they can produce the female gamete. And the sexes are separate in the sense dioecious. Which type of fertilization is going to take place? Internal fertilization. And the development is indirect. The development is direct. Development is direct. Here there is no presence of any larval stage, so that's why the development is direct. The development is direct in nature, and this development, it does not include any larval stage. After the fusion of male gamete and the female gamete, the results in the zygote, and that zygote, it can embedded inside the uterus. They can embed it inside the uterine wall, and finally inside the uterus, the zygote is developed into embryo, and that embryo can develop into a new individual or the fetus, and this fetus can be ejaculated from the vaginal region, and this here there is no presence of any larva. Okay, and another very important thing in the mammals are also called as placental animals. Placental animals. Why they are called as placental animals? And now tell me, what is placenta? Placenta means it is the organic connection between the mother and the fetus. What is the placenta? Placenta means it is a organic connection between the mother and the fetus. The organic connection between the mother and the fetus is called as placenta, and all mammals, they are having the presence of placenta. So that's why they are called as placental organisms. Placenta means it is an organic connection between the mother and fetus. Mother and fetus. And the another very important thing here is all the mammals are viviparous in nature. What are viviparous organisms? The organisms which can give birth to the young ones. The organisms which can directly give birth to the young ones, and this type of organisms are called as viviparous organisms, or this type of reproduction is called as viviparity, and all the mammals are viviparous in nature except two. Except two organisms, and these two organisms are oviparous in nature. Oviparous in nature means they can lay the eggs. They can lay the eggs. Echidna and platypus. Echidna and platypus. Okay, all the mammals are viviparous in nature except two. Which are those? Echidna and platypus. These two organisms, they can lay the eggs. They can lay the eggs, so that's why they are called as oviparous organisms. And after that, give one example for flying mammal. Flying mammal, bat. Bat is a flying mammal. Bat is a flying mammal. Okay, that's all about the mammals. The mammals are the organisms they can able to possess the mammary gland for the production of milk after the parturition process. And another very important thing in the mammals, they can possess the placenta. Placenta means it is the organic connection between the mother and the fetus, and this placenta which give nourishment for the developing embryo. Okay, from the placenta, through the placenta only, the mother and the fetus, they communicate with each other by giving all the respiratory pigments, food and other raw materials, which are all transferred through the placenta. So that's why it is the organic connection between the mother and the fetus. And after that, the skin is provided with the glands like sweat glands, sebaceous glands, and the epidermal hairs are present, which helps in the protection process, and two pairs of limbs are present, which helps in the walking, running, dancing, swimming, like that. And alimentary canal which opens from mouth region to anus region, and heart is 4-chambered, 2 auricles and 2 ventricles, and respiration is by lungs, and the sexes are separate, male and female, and the fertilization is always internal, and the development is always direct. Okay, all the mammals are viviparous in nature except Echidna and platypus. These two organisms are viviparous in nature. Okay, and these are all the examples, these are all the characteristic features of the mammals. The best example for mammals is human beings, monkeys, monkey, donkey, etc., elephant, bat, mammal, echidna, platypus, they are all the organisms which are belongs to the mammals. And the brain is high, the central nervous system is very well developed in the mammals, and this which helps in the high thinking ability. The IQ power in the mammals is very high when compared to other type of vertebrates. Okay, and that's all about the characteristic features of the mammals. Okay, here the animal kingdom chapter is the very important chapter and very easiest chapter when compared to all the chapters in the first PUC. And in this chapter, the important concepts are diploblastic organisms, and diploblastic organisms 2 marks is very important, and symmetries. It is also very important for 1 mark questions, and organization, it is also one of the important questions for 1 mark questions, and differences between warm-blooded organisms and cold-blooded organisms for 2 marks, and the general characteristic features is very important. Okay, the vertebrate, the organisms are divided into 2 types, vertebrates and invertebrates. Chordata and non-chordata are invertebrates and vertebrates. The invertebrates are classified into 10 types, 10 phylums: phylum Porifera, phylum Coelenterata, phylum Stenophora, phylum Platyhelminthes, phylum Aschelminthes, phylum Annelida, phylum Arthropoda, phylum Mollusca, Echinodermata and Hemichordata. These are all the 10 phylums under the invertebrates. They are classified under the invertebrates, and the vertebrates, the chordates are classified into 3 types: urochordates, cephalochordates and vertebrates. The urochordates and cephalochordates, they are called as protochordates, and the vertebrates are classified into 2 types: agnathas and gnathostomata. Agnathas, it includes cyclostomes, and the gnathostomes, they includes spices and tetrapods. The spices, again they classified into chondriophysis and osteophysis, and the tetrapods are again classified into 4 classes: class Amphibia, class Reptilia, class Aves, and the last class is class Mammals. Okay, and in this chapter, the important thing is sexual dimorphism, and what is the metagenesis process, and what is alternation of generation, and what are urochordates, given example, and what are the differences between chordates and the non-chordates is very important, and what are the differences between chondriophysis and osteophysis. It is also very important question for 5 marks. Okay, and what is placenta, and what is spawning process, and another important thing is what is sexual dimorphism, or what is the ecdysis, and examples are also very important. And what is regeneration? The regeneration it is going to take place in Platyhelminthes, in planaria. And what are pneumatic bones? What are pneumatic bones, and what are the roles of feathers? These are all, and what is the differences between direct development and indirect development, and these are all the concepts are very important in this chapter. Okay, so far we completely discussed with the animal kingdom chapter, and next we shall move on to the second unit. And in the second unit, due to the pandemic effect of the syllabus, 30% of the syllabus is get reduced. So that's why in the unit second, the anatomy of flowering plants is also deleted, and the morphology of the flowering plants is also deleted. So that's why I am going to start with the structural organization in organisms. Okay, and in that chapter also few topics are deleted. The remaining topics we are going to discuss in the upcoming videos. Okay, that's all about animal kingdom chapter. Okay, if any doubts, please kindly contact my number.